Okay, let's use this example to try to get an appreciation of what costs are relevant to a decision and what would be irrelevant. Here, this situation we have in front of us has you having purchased 2 tickets for a concert. So this concert cost you $50 per ticket. And what's happened is that you've gotten an invitation to a party that same night, and you're trying to now decide what to do. You know, by the way, that you'd enjoy the party more. So as far as the factors that are involved, your concert would cost you an additional $10 to get there. The party, on the other hand, you would pay $5 for beverages. You would be able to scalp or sell your tickets for $25 each, and you would have more fun. So what we want to do is look at what are the relevant opportunity costs here. Again, remember that opportunity costs are the value of the next best alternative, or alternatives. We just have one in this example. So the opportunity cost, if you go to the concert, what you would be foregoing is the $25 resale value of the tickets. Okay, so that would be your opportunity costs in this case. Now what you've got to do is take away or not consider the costs that are sunk. Sunk costs are, again, past costs that are not going to change, that will not change based on your decision. So they cannot be changed. And in this example, your sunk cost would be the $50 tickets. You already paid them. You can't get the money back regardless of which decision. So that is considered a sunk cost. Now that one's a hard one. I can tell you, when I go to, say, an all-you-can-eat buffet, I've spent a fair amount, let's say, for this buffet, and I tend to think, oh, okay, I should go get another plate full, even though I'm completely full, because I want to get my money's worth. Well, you can't. In that decision, I should not be considering the cost of the buffet. It's sunk, regardless of whether I have another plate or not. So sometimes it's not. Sunk costs aren't intuitive for us, but we still, as a manager, must not consider those costs in making the decision. And to apply this to a more realistic situation for a business, some typical sunk costs would be things such as the depreciation on long-term assets. Basically, just look at it as the assets that you've already bought and you can't sell. So these are the things you would not want to consider in your decision. Though there is a caveat, unless you could resell, or you could sell the long-term asset, which in that case you would consider that an opportunity cost. So I hope you see the difference between those. Okay. Now, what you do after you've looked at your relevant costs, you're going to also want to consider the qualitative factors, and that's probably in some ways more important than looking at the quantitative. So you look at, or look beyond, I should say, the numbers. And for businesses, well, for this example, the fact that you would have more fun is a qualitative factor that should be weighed very heavily. Again, for a business, for a realistic business, you would be looking at, okay, let's say I'm trying to decide whether to make something internally or outsource it. You'd want to be looking at the quality as a qualitative factor. You'd want to look at the timeliness of the deliveries. You'd want to be looking at the impact on employee morale if you were to, say, having to lay off employees. So and then the lack of control, because you're going to be having somebody else do it. So those are all some examples of qualitative factors that would be part of your decision that are relevant.